into the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
I'm hyped for this. Look at that. Guys, we're talking Aztec Warfare. This is when stuff starts getting real. Like, stuff was pretty awesome leading up to this, ramping up to this. You know, it's Season 2, Episode 9, but now it's time. It's Aztec Warfare 2. The title's on the line, so let's get into it. My name is Ty Matthews. You can find me on Twitter, on Instagram, at Ty Matthews PMA. As always, my lovely and talented co-host.
Oh, well, thank you, sir. My name is James Franck. You can follow me on Twitter at TheJimboSlice, TheJimboslice, and let's talk about the war.
Let's talk about Aztec Warfare, guys.
Holy cow.
Lucha Underground, Season 2, Episode 9, Aztec Warfare 2. I'm getting so hyped to these drums right now. I just want them to be the entire episode.
I can make that happen.
But there's someone drumming
Let's do it.
in our studio audience.
Exactly, yeah. We got someone live in studio. We spare no expense. It's I don't even know how this is gonna go because we're talking one match.
Yeah,
for
that was the crazy
episode.
thing. Like when they're like, "All right, we're gonna start Aztec Warfare." I'm like, "Oh, this is the entire episode. Is
Right.
this one match?"
Right,
Like,
exactly.
They had a
Wow.
Fatal 4-Way online exclusive for the last invitation.
Oh, that's right.
And there wasn't even time to show that on the air.
Who was the match between? I didn't get a chance to get to that.
I forgot, but Joey Ryan won.
Joey won it. That's why he came
that's
out
why he
with
came
with
out
the
with the
invitation.
invitation.
I guess before we get into the show, let's talk some news. Let's talk some
let's talk some
Lucha
news.
Underground news.
AfterBuzz TV news.
Firstly, and this is very, very exciting. Last night's episode, Aztec Warfare, was the very first time that Lucha Underground broke the cable top 150.
Yay!
So I'm very excited about that. They set
Congratulations.
Exactly. They set a record high for the show. I think they clocked in at number 137. So that's very exciting for the crew. Our Krista Joseph, friend of the show.
Yeah.
Very exciting for him and his compatriots.
It's so cool that we could say that.
Right? Friend of the show. We got Carly's a friend and Krista Joseph's a friend. We're just going to be dropping names all over the place. Sorry, not sorry. Let's talk about this other bit of news.
Right. Someone who I've been saying I would love to see in the temple battle it out with the other gods of war, I guess you would say. Sami Callihan.
The Callahan
Death Machine has signed on for Season 3 of Lucha Underground.
There we go. The kids love it. The kids love him.
Yeah.
It's they're in the midst of taping Season 3 right now. They just started last week. We're not sure when it'll air, but when it does, be on the lookout for this guy. He's one of my absolute favorites. Also known as Solomon Crow for you NXT fans out there.
And you were bringing up a good point, like if they get him and Cage together as the machines, they need one more machine.
That was
and they'll
Mark.
That was Mark. Sorry.
Mark's idea was the machines. I like
machines.
that. I like that a lot.
We need some new contenders for the trios titles, guys.
Right?
Yeah, we can get Johnny Yuma in there as the micro machine.
There you go. There you go, right there.
There you go.
And then it'll be just like the machines of yore.
Yeah.
Super Machine and Big Machine. Remember those guys?
I remember when the Santinos were like starting to like put their students on shows, and they were just like, put a mask on him. He's the Santino machine.
Exactly.
Chaos machine. Chaos would just come out with a mask. It's
Just different machines.
Yeah,
Wrestling is just populated by machines.
Yeah.
If we know anything, it's that.
And machines are impervious to glass.
They're impervious to glass, as we saw. We knew it before, but they keep... Lucha Underground is all about continuity.
Oh, yeah, totally, because everyone in Aztec Warfare, continued their feud.
Right, exactly.
And they acknowledged that, Drago came out, went right for Jack Evans.
Everything ties all together. Yeah, we'll get into all that. Let's get into the episode proper. Before the match starts, we get a little bit of a scene backstage. Really, the only thing that we see that's not Aztec Warfare, and it's Pentagon Jr. Going right up to Phoenix and basically telling him, "Look, that belt's coming with me," you know? And then, of course, just like she loves to do, our friend Katrina just teleports right in there and says, "Hey, man, I don't know if you know, but you're not invited."
I love the way this was shot. And as soon as she popped in, the colors changed.
The colors
the way
and
it
the
looked
lighting.
was different. Yeah. And then as soon as she disappeared, it went right back to normal.
Right. It reminded me a little bit of like Cosmic Mini Golf.
Oh,
like
okay.
a little bit like, guys, if you know Boomers off the 10, you know, get some Cosmic Golf going. But I love, that color palette and the cinematography. It's absolutely gorgeous. But yeah, Katrina tells him, look, and it ties back to that fight scene that they had a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
You know, she told him then putting his hands on her would be the biggest mistake he ever made. And she says, you know, it pays off tonight because he didn't get an invite to Aztec Warfare.
Exactly.
And so, you know, and then she kind of turns it on Phoenix, or when she's addressing Pentagon, she tells him that he knows nothing about the darkness. You know, she says, "You don't know true fear." And I don't know if this is going to lead anywhere, but I love kind of the parallels of like Katrina and Mel on one side and Pentagon and Vampiro on the other. I don't know if those two tandems are going to butt heads at any point. I certainly hope so, but it's just like it's evil going up against evil.
Yeah.
So that's just going to be like big old implosion.
Crazy.
When that happens.
Darkness everywhere.
Exactly. And then of course Phoenix is just kind of, he's left to defend his title in this entire thing. And if it seems familiar, you know, defending the title for the very first time in this kind of Rumble-ish scenario, remember this was taped back in December. This was taped a while ago. Yeah. Huh. So that was interesting. That was an interesting little twist on the concept that they may or may not have beat someone else to.
Yeah. That's funny you bring that up, dude.
Yeah.
I didn't think of that.
But yeah, let's get into Aztec Warfare. And one of the things, obviously, that's amazing about Aztec Warfare is the pageantry. Aztec Warfare isn't just something that they call it because there's a sweet Aztec emblem in the middle of the ring. They've got, as you heard at the top of our show, they've got the drums and they've got the headdresses and the outfits, and it's serious stuff. Just like the way that Grave Consequences isn't just a casket match.
Yeah.
It's so much more than that.
The fans were going crazy just chanting Aztec Warfare.
Sure. Yeah, exactly.
I was like, oh, this is gonna be good.
Yeah, we've talked at length about the Believers and how rabid they are. And if you give them something to chant, they're gonna chant it, especially if it's Aztec Warfare.
Yeah.
But we know right off the bat, Phoenix is the number one entrant. We knew that last week. But number two, they're not wasting any time with this debut. Rey Mysterio Jr.
Blown away.
And like, just right off the bat, we get a taste of kind of a dream match with Rey Mysterio versus Phoenix. Right off the bat.
And Rey looked great.
He looked amazing, definitely.
Like he was still wearing the upper, like, what is that, Under Armour or like a rash guard or whatever.
Right.
Which is fine.
That's fine.
It doesn't bother me.
Right.
But like he looked great. He had like a new kind of style mask. It was like Muda-esque.
That's what it seemed like.
Mask, like with the way like the face just popped out a little bit.
Right, exactly.
But yeah, he was amazing. And I loved how he like got in the ring and he was like doing the corners, and Phoenix is like, no, dude, like you take all the bows you want. And then like they were about to lock up and you could see Phoenix like hug him and like probably like whisper in his ear like, thank you for this.
Right.
He's got to be like, oh man, like for us just as fans, like we've grown up watching like him put the cruiserweights on the map.
Exactly.
And make like little wrestlers like cool. Like anyone who grew up watching the Monday Night Wars, they turned to Nitro to see their cruiserweights wrestle.
Right.
You know, and like I'm sure that's what made all those guys want to be wrestlers. So now to be able to like step in the ring with like someone you like idolized growing up, I can't imagine.
Right. And for him to be immersed in such kind of a diverse roster as Lucha Underground's, you know, we saw him put on classics with Ultimo Dragon on Nitro, and we saw him tear it up obviously with Kurt Angle in WWE. And so now he's got this whole new pool of opponents to kind of draw from, and it does look like he hasn't lost a step.
Yeah,
you know, that satellite head scissors that he hits right off the bat was just a thing of beauty, right? You know, right out of the gate.
He was so amazing.
Another thing that I loved before Aztec Warfare started is we saw Famous B and Brenda ringside, passing out business cards.
Looking make you famous.
Exactly, yeah. Looking for the next person that they can make famous. So remember 423, get fame. That's an actual number you can call. And yeah, so there are so many creative moments that we see even just between the first two.
Yeah.
You know, there's a moment where Phoenix hits the Tajiri handspring right into the Japanese arm drag. And it's such a thing that you don't really see anywhere else. It's little things like that really make it stand out.
And I wonder, is it like you don't see it anywhere else because no one else can do it right? You know, like that's just two people who know what they're doing that can just pull it off like with ease.
Right,
just make it look so simple that, you know, someone watching is like, oh, I'm going to do that this weekend on my show. And then they try it and land on their head. And,
Right. So yeah, there's so many amazing moments. Then we see King Cuerno, one of my absolute favorites. And what I love about Aztec Warfare is that because of the pinfall submission rules, you can have guys kind of surrounding the ring and be on the outside. And that's kind of what they did with Cuerno. They sort of kept him sequestered on the outside. And we got to see the classics. We got to see the arrow from the depths of hell, things like that. But it was one of those things where it made it believable once he did get eliminated, because he didn't really get a chance to kind of gain that momentum in the ring. Mm-hmm. You know, we saw that incredible like super alley-oop that he did to Rey Mysterio, just from the powerbomb setup right straight to the back on the face. But other than that, he kind of was kept on the outside. And I mean, obviously the arrow, the camera angle that they caught on the arrow is absolutely, if this was in 3D, it would have been.
Oh man, he would have landed in your lap.
I jumped so high, like from the moment he did the pose to set up with the actual arrow to the dive.
Right.
I was just like, this is the coolest thing ever. This is so cool.
Exactly. Oh man, what else? We saw the return of Argenis. Argenis is someone that we haven't seen in the temple in quite a while. So it's nice to see things, you know, tied back to that in kind of this setting. What are some of your notes on kind of the opening moments of Aztec Warfare?
Argenis, is that how you say it?
Yeah.
He hit a bunch of crazy cool kicks that were all different.
Yeah.
And then like he loses to Rey, which had to be really cool for him too. Like,
right.
Like, oh, you're gonna be in this match, but you're gonna get to wrestle Rey for like 3 minutes, pretty much just the two of you.
Right, exactly.
You know, like, okay, yeah, he could beat me. Like, why not? You know? And then I don't know if it was right there, but there was a point where like Rey got tossed out of the ring and hit a splash on somebody on the outside.
Yeah.
Because I've seen him do that bump before where he gets like thrown out and he just like belly flops to the mat or to the floor. So like to see him do that and hit a splash on someone on the outside, I was like,
exactly.
Oh, it's so creative.
And I think we saw both of those. I think we saw someone chuck him out and him take that bump.
Matanza threw him.
Yeah, exactly. And then he hit that splash. Might have been on King Cuerno. And it's, you know, one of the things that I noted here is that, and not to compare too much, but in the Royal Rumble, obviously it's defined ostensibly as like, oh, defending against 29 other guys. But when people can get eliminated so quickly and so almost kind of accidentally, it seems like it makes that a little bit hollow. Whereas here, Phoenix really is defending the title against 19 or 20 other people, as we saw, and it makes it seem that much more intense. You know, a week after winning the title from Mil Muertes, I mean, he's already defending it in such a
back
ridiculous...
against the wall.
Yeah, exactly.
Odds are stacked against him.
Yeah. Next we see Joey Ryan. Joey Ryan come out for Aztec Warfare, and he's got a brilliant idea.
He's gonna handcuff himself.
You know that he can't get pinned or submitted inside the ring. He can't get eliminated inside the ring, so he handcuffs himself to the barricade. And I love the subversion of this trope, because, you know, we've seen tropes like that where you know, Jerry Lawler hides underneath the ring and you never see him again. But like Joey was kind of this constant presence where he had this smart idea to handcuff himself, but then it just kept paying off over and over, because he'd get super kicked by King Cuerno, or he'd get punched by someone, or he'd get misted by Drago.
I love, as soon as he handcuffs himself to the pole, you hear Famous B is like, that guy's smart. He's gonna be famous.
He's the smartest man in pro wrestling. Yeah.
I think my favorite thing was when Masquerita Serrata came out, and someone just like running freaking power bombs him onto Joey. And Joey's just like, and then you see him like hit Joey and just fall.
Right. Yeah, it was such a simple running gag that just they kept paying off over and over. Yeah, it was great.
Like, he's like, haha, kick to the face, fall down.
Right.
Get up, haha, punch to the face, fall down. You know?
Right.
It's just like...
And of course, thematically, character-wise, it would make sense for Joey Ryan, for Officer Joey Ryan.
To have
handcuffs. Exactly. It all comes together.
Full circle, baby.
Not so much of an explanation for the blow pop, but the handcuffs make sense. What else?
At this point, I think Mundo's in now.
Yeah.
And there's like, I don't remember who he did it to.
I think Mundo was 3 or 4.
Mm-hmm.
But someone got like whipped in the ropes, and Mundo picked him up for a flapjack, and King Cuerno hit like a knee.
Yeah.
So it was like, oh, that's cool. They're working together without working together. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, definitely. There was a moment kind of around this area. Rey Mysterio, surprisingly, is the one to take out King Cuerno, and he
taps him out. Doesn't he?
He hits that seated senton, which I was never crazy about that move, but he turns it right into a beautiful cross arm breaker, and taps out King Cuerno, which you don't really think about it, but that's not something that you expect to see, especially him tapping out to Rey Mysterio.
Yeah.
But I always tell people, in wrestling school as well, that the cross arm breaker is kind of one of the most protected submission moves in wrestling right now. If someone straightens out that arm, that you're kind of done.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was a really cool moment. The seated senton, direct transition right into the cross arm breaker. Mundo comes in, and at one point, so Mundo comes in, Jack Evans comes in. At one point, kind of the top 3 faces of Lucha Underground. So it's like, what is it? It's Rey Mysterio, it's Puma, Mysterio, and Phoenix. Yeah, and they all just start stomping Jack Evans, and then Johnny Mundo comes in.
He's like,
and he wants to. He's like, yeah, let's all do this, and he starts stomping Jack Evans. They all turn on him. Eventually, Taya, makes her entrance into Aztec Warfare, and we see this sort of
Rudo versus Technico.
Yeah, Rudo versus Technico. I would say U.S. versus Mexico, but Taya, of course, is Canadian. But it's we've got Phoenix, Mysterio, and Puma on one side, Mundo, Jack Evans, and Taya on the other, and especially Mundo, Jack Evans, and Taya, who are like the top Rudos right now in Lucha Underground, especially Jack Evans, the guy going around saying that he invented Lucha Libre, he's the Dragon Slayer, he's kind of the most pure Rudo right now.
My favorite part about that whole exchange was when they both meet, when Mundo and Evans meet outside the ring, and Evans is like, "What were you stopping me down for?" And he was like, "I had to make them believe that I was on their team." And Evans really loudly and clearly goes, "Oh, that makes sense."
Yeah.
They have like this full-on conversation about these tactics.
I loved it.
What were some of your notes on this segment of Aztec Warfare?
Mundo hits a Spanish Fly on Rey, I think.
Yeah, that running
Phoenix.
Spanish Fly.
Oh, man. Crazy.
Absolutely.
And then to backtrack a little bit, when Joey Ryan handcuffs himself to the thing, Vampiro's like, "Oh, there's a name for that."
Right.
We call that.
What do you call a baby?
What do you call a baby kitten? Starts with a P.
Starts with a P. Exactly. We know. Yeah. Exactly. Vampiro loves throwing that stuff out. It's so many different kinds of competitors in this match all at the same time, and you didn't really see many eliminations kind of all at once until the last moments of the match, until the last maybe 10-15 minutes. So there's a while where it was just bodies everywhere,
like fighting all over the place. Like Rey and Phoenix hit like a gnarly double splash off of his shoulders.
Yeah, exactly.
And then Cage.
Right, exactly.
And then we get Cage, and I love Cage comes in the ring, and like I think Jack goes for something, or no, like Taya goes, he hits Mundo, he clotheslines Taya, Jack goes for a drop kick, does nothing.
Just nothing.
Pretty much drop salts back to his feet, and then goes in again, and Cage just takes him out with a clothesline.
Right, exactly. Like, and it was interesting because Cage kind of accidentally saved Rey Mysterio, because they're holding him down for Mundo's end of the world. All of a sudden you hear that I'm a machine. I love the music. The music was really kind of standing out for me in this episode, because you really got to kind of hear it prominently featured for every entrant. Yeah. But yeah, he kind of accidentally saves Rey and just wrecks everybody. I mean, just lariats and just everything. He just lariats Taya without even thinking about it, without a second thought. Just like, oh, you're in my way now. You're gonna get lariated too.
And I love how it wasn't like, oh my God, there's a girl in Aztec Warfare. It was like, oh yeah, there's just another participant. She just happens to be a female.
Exactly. There's
like
men.
It's just become so common
women.
that chicks fight dudes in here.
Right. Yeah. There's minis. We saw Masquerade the Sagrada in there. I was sad we didn't see any Pimpinela Escarlata. No Exoticos this time around. But a lot of just so many different kinds of people represented. I will take a quick break from talking about Aztec Warfare because our co-host Jared Gilkerson not around right now, but he is involved with something brand new that I want to tell you about. So listen up. Are you curious about a celebrity boyfriend or fiance's midlife crisis? Do you enjoy hearing stories about the behind-the-scenes world of Hollywood? Lastly, and I think most importantly, are you amused by old TV and movie references? Because I know I am. That's really all that this show is, really. It's just make other references, tie everything together.
Fellow chucker, eh?
Exactly. If you like all those things, if that hat trick appeals to you, then you're going to love The Tomorrow Show with Kevin Undergaro. So you're going to want to join AfterBuzz creator and Maria Menounos' fiance, Kevin Undergaro, along with AfterBuzzer co-host Roxy Stryer, Ashley Daniels, and others for all that insanity. You're going to want to watch live Monday and Thursday nights, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific time, and that's over at thetomorrowshow.com. You can also subscribe and download free on iTunes, so make sure you go to thetomorrowshow.com for more information. Let's get back to Aztec Warfare.
Oh, man.
Man, where are we even at right now?
I love Sagrada does like a dive. Cage or Mundo catches him like it's no big deal.
Starts doing curls. We've established the importance of curls in the temple before. He hits it. And we, like you mentioned earlier, we do kind of get a call back to Cage being impervious to glass. Mm-hmm. We know that bottles do nothing, and so Mundo just chucks him right through that office window that's been replaced like 3 times at this point, and Cage shakes it off like it's nothing.
It's like in Wayne's World where they just keep walking back and forth with the glass.
Right, yeah, exactly.
It's like, what are you doing? Oh, we got to just keep walking back and forth with the glass until it gets broken.
Right. It's around this time that Marty the Moth makes his entrance. And one thing that I loved is that Marty the Moth has gone from this silly kind of novelty gimmick where he was just obsessed with proving that he had Aztec blood to being treated like a legitimate monster. At one point, he's just wrecking everyone in the ring. Matt Stryker makes the call that aside from Cage, he is the biggest guy in the ring. He's deceptively large. And so he hits a gorgeous, gorgeous bicycle kick at one point. I think it might be on Rey, just absolutely wrecks him. Jack Evans hits an insane butterfly kick, hits so many rotations, and Marty kind of, he winces a little bit and then just starts that laugh, that maniacal laugh, and
he also gave his shirt to Taya.
Did he?
He wiped his face with it and then gave it to her.
What a creeper, man.
I saw the super sleazy removal of the shirt. I didn't see him give it to Taya. And then after he kind of no-sells that butterfly kick from Jack Evans, hits him with an absolutely nasty wheelbarrow suplex.
Oh, so
just
good.
From the quesadora
no one really does
straight
that.
Back. Yeah, exactly.
That's such a cool move that no one really does.
Right, and we saw so many suplexes in this match, which we'll get to later. At one point, we see at this point Drago is now out, and I love that Jack Evans isn't. He's kind of like a weasel in this show, but he's still, even he isn't gonna run from his blood rival at this point. Just straight up.
He does a Sasuke special over the top rope, lands on his feet.
Exactly.
Like it's no big deal.
Right. Flying Space Tiger Drop, lands on his feet. And then we see the accidental misting of Joey Ryan, who's
great.
Still at one hand handcuffed to the barricade and just keeps taking offense over and over. I love that selling of just he's almost down on his knees, crying to the heavens after getting this dragon mist, whatever it is, in his face. Man, what else?
I think Marty and Rey are going at it.
Right.
Rey hits a splash on Marty.
Yeah.
Double pin.
Yeah.
Marty's eliminated.
Yeah, that kind of
There are a lot of double pins in this match.
Right, exactly. Kind of a combination of a lateral press and a jackknife pin from Masquerita. We see Chavo, of course, the supreme jerk of the temple, tapping out Masquerita with a camel clutch. And like, almost kind of like a Steiner recliner, really, just because of the size difference. He has to sort of like remain standing.
Willie Mack. The Mac comes out, and Vampiro on commentary is like, he's got crazy eyes. He could see everyone in the temple.
We know about Willie Eyes. Willie Eyes, you know shit's on when you get those eyes going.
And then him and Cage go nose to nose,
tying it back to Ultima Lucha.
Like all these engaging all these feuds, and people still don't like each other. And then like Willie hits a gnarly flying knee, and Cage just brushes it off.
Right. And yeah, we talked about it a little last week, how in the temple, people's feuds are never really finished. They're just kind of put on hold while they hate someone else for a while. So of course, Mac and Cage are going to get into it right off the bat. I do also love that the stunner is now kind of becoming a regular part of the Mac's repertoire.
That's great.
You know, we saw him stun, I think, 3 or 4 different people in Aztec Warfare.
That was awesome.
And even throwing in the theatrics of flipping people off and doing the oh hell yeah. So that's I love seeing that from Willie Mack.
And it's crazy to think that's all just because so many other people were doing moves that look like his chocolate thunder bomb.
Oh, right.
So he was just like, oh, I guess I'll just do a stunner.
Interesting. I never knew that.
Like it's just so crazy.
Right.
Like of all the because he can do a lot of stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
Like he could flip and fly. He could do it all. He's ridiculously strong.
Sure.
You know, so he's like, no, I'm gonna hit a stunner.
I'm just gonna hit him with a Stone Cold Stunner. Sometimes that's what you got to do. We see because we saw that. Cage is impervious to glass. It takes a cinder block of all things to take him out. You know, he's draped over those ropes, and Johnny Mundo just comes out with a straight up cinder block and smashes it over his head. And then Taya gets the pin.
Yeah.
And then not only that, but we saw a German suplex to Taya that was absolutely nasty. That takes her out.
I loved. Jack Evans and Drago are like fighting in the stands, and Drago just hip tosses Jack Evans from like the second row in the stands over the rail to the floor.
Like onto nothing.
It's like
onto nothing.
What is going on? You guys are crazy.
Did we talk about Evans falling down the stairs?
Oh man, there's a moment that I didn't even notice until my second viewing of this, where something big is happening in the ring, but then like off in the background, you just see Jack Evans tumbling down the stairs
I didn't notice
of
that.
the temple.
It was Mac and Cage facing off.
That's
and
what it was.
Right in the middle of him, you see Jack Evans fly from the top of the screen.
That is
just
awesome.
tumbling down the stairs. It was hilarious.
I wish it would have had sound effects.
Right.
Whoa.
Exactly.
Whoa.
Because Jack Evans would be talking just the entire way
Oh
down.
yeah, that makes sense.
That makes sense. It was Phoenix. It was Phoenix that hits that absolutely brutal German suplex on Taya to eliminate her. And really, there's kind of no time wasted. From the time that she pins Cage, he just scoops her up, and it's like we said, she's just another competitor, so he just stacks her up on her neck and eliminates her right there. We at this point, Aerostar, our favorite time traveling luchador, is in the mix, and we see kind of this cool little double elimination. You know, we see a deadlift brainbuster from PJ Black on Drago, but at the same time, we see an avalanche Canadian destroyer from Aerostar to Jack Evans.
Insane.
That's just like, it's one of those things. Do you know anything about endorphin wrestling? Mm-mm. So Endorphin was this, like, I think people are still making it. It's this animation program where people make these 3D animations of like stick figure wrestlers.
Okay.
And they do all these moves that are clearly
like
not possible
insane.
because they would kill you instantly. That's how I felt about this spot. Like, oh, this is just an Endorphin spot.
Oh,
Someone
wow.
animated this, but it's clearly not real people. But of course, if it's anyone that's going to be taking an avalanche destroyer, it's Jack Evans.
He's pretty much Gumby man.
Exactly. So we see Aerostar take out Jack Evans. We see PJ Black take out Drago simultaneously.
At some point before that happened, Jack goes to do a lion salt and just gets drop kicked in the face.
Right.
It's disgusting. It's
Right.
so great.
Exactly. So many different guys. At this point, if you haven't seen Aztec Warfare, I'm not sure why you're watching this, but if you haven't, go watch it right now because there's so much more that we don't even have time to touch on.
Yeah, there was so much going on.
Another debut, we saw Rey Mysterio's debut earlier in the match, but we saw the debut of Dragon Azteca Jr. finally. And just, the stuff that he was doing, and it even seemed like he was holding back the stuff that he was doing, but we see...
he's got a lot of cool kicks too.
Exactly, lots of really, really crisp kicks. At one point, he launches himself over the top rope onto Willie Mack, right into a picture-perfect Rana, and then slides in the ring and just does a plancha over the ring post.
Yeah, who does that?
Right. Like we know he's been training in that dojo with Rey Mysterio and watching those famous B commercials.
It would have been so great if you would have stopped him and like, hey, I know you.
Oh, now I wish
that would have been so great.
Now I wish
if
that
he would have just
happened.
like stopped what he was doing and been like, get fame.
It might have happened, and there was just so much going on that we
just didn't notice.
Get it captured.
Just such a perfect moment of continuity. That
Stops
to
take a selfie with him.
Right, exactly. I know you from the TV. Just so much good stuff from Dragon Azteca Jr. We see Tejano emptying out the ring, just helicoptering that bull rope over his head.
Oh man. And then we get number 20.
So number 20 comes out, and we know from last week that that's going to be Mil Muertes looking to reclaim that title. But from out of nowhere, from that crowd, comes Pentagon Jr.,
steel chair,
hell bent on revenge against both Katrina and Mil Muertes, and just takes a chair right to Mil Muertes, sends him down the stairs, hitting him with the chair over and over and over, sends him into the ring. We see a big splash from Rey, a dog pile, and just like that, Mil Muertes is out of the Aztec Warfare.
It reminded me of like the Taz, Tanaka, who was it? Taz, Tanaka, and there's like one other dude, Mike Awesome.
Mike Awesome, yeah.
The three-way, and then like Taz is the champ, and he's like the first one pinned.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Like, hits the splash, and then it's a double cover, and then he's pinned, and everyone's just like, wait, what the hell just happened?
Yeah, exactly.
It's
and
like, wait,
it's one
Mil
of those
was supposed
moments...
to be the last one that goes against Phoenix, right?
Right.
How's that going to happen now?
Yeah, exactly. And really, if you think about it theoretically, it makes the most sense. Pentagon Jr. has just taken it to him with a steel chair. Of course, you're going to want to capitalize, And so, right off the bat, Mil Muertes is out of Aztec Warfare.
Katrina is pissed.
Katrina's pissed. She's dropping stuff that cannot be aired on the Rey Network. She's screaming at Vampiro, forcing him to take off the headset, slapping the hell out of him. And it's once again, it makes me want to see that moment of Katrina and Mil Muertes versus Vampiro and Pentagon.
Oh man!
I don't know what kind of form it's going to take, but those two pairs are going to come to blows. But then, after that all happens, we get what Matt Stryker calls a technical difficulty. We see another counter, even though all 20 men have joined the fracas, as if you will. But we see that there is a new challenger, as the folks at Street Fighter might say, a new challenger appears. Dario Cueto makes his triumphant return to the temple, to his temple, reintroduces himself as El Jefe.
This is a temple!
Yes!
My temple.
I get so hyped for it. But he introduces the man, the thing, the monster that we've been waiting to see since the early days of Season 1, Matanza Cueto.
Holy.
And Matanza, to even say that he wrecked shop would be an understatement. We were talking about it a little off air. Matanza is like, imagine if Abyss or if Kane showed up, but they just started throwing picture-perfect suplexes with like the technical efficiency of an expert.
Suplex barrio.
It's I like it. It's a whole new type of monster that you've never really seen before. You've seen these kind of hard-hitting brawlers that are like these Frankenstein types, but you haven't seen them throwing these absolutely gorgeous power slams and gut wrench suplexes and German suplexes and belly-to-belly suplexes. So many different things from Matanza. And at this point, it's all just kind of academic. We see everyone in Aztec Warfare at this point try to team up, or I guess go after him one by one. And one by one, he puts them away with something different. He puts away Tejano with a sit-out powerbomb, which is Tejano's own finisher. You know, he puts away
nasty German suplexes Willie Mack.
Oh
Like
my
he's
god!
nothing.
Just wrecks Willie Mack with a German suplex. He hits Joey Ryan.
He rips Joey Ryan out of his handcuffs.
Just rips that barricade right open so that to throw him in the ring. Hits him with those rolling gut wrench suplexes for the pin. At one point, he hits a standing shooting star. That's one of the most perfect standing shooting stars you'll ever see, and it's from someone that size.
It would have been so great if Puma would have like just watched him do that and just like left the ring.
Right.
It's like, all right, whatever.
Because you got to think, Matanza, what would you say, maybe 270, 280?
Easily.
Right.
He's got no neck.
Zero neck. I've not seen less of a neck on someone ever.
He's doing all this, and Famous B is like, we're gonna make him famous.
Exactly. I mean, he's just hitting all sorts of suplexes, shooting stars all over the place. It's absolutely incredible. We see this amazing moment where Chavo tries to make an alliance with Dario Cueto, and Cueto we're
he's
buddies.
Like,
fine. And then as Chavo's in the ring, he gives Matanza a quick slit in the throat. That's absolutely like, if you didn't know that Dario Cueto is one of the best parts of this show before, that moment alone should convince you. Because it's such a subtle little gag in the midst of all of this chaos that it's such a genuine laugh at that point.
And then Dragon Azteca Jr. and Matanza are actually like going toe to toe, and he's like seems to be the only one who's
and it's
hanging.
And
really.
I'm glad that you mentioned that, because that pairing of Matanza and Dragon Azteca Jr. kind of reminded me of like the season 2 version of Mil Muertes and Phoenix.
Okay.
You know, this sort of updated, like, here's the hero that's going to try to save everything, and here's the absolutely unstoppable monster that very well could legitimately kill him and eat his face. And so it seemed like it was almost kind of an updated version of that. So I don't know if those two stories will intersect. Who knows? But you know, he puts away. Eventually, he eliminates 9 people. Wow. He's in there with Prince Puma, and he gives him 3 different kinds of suplexes. He catches that kick and gives it right into that kind of high impact Saito suplex first.
Oh man, the spin around backdrop.
Exactly, yeah.
Man.
Then he gives him a deadlift pump handle suplex, then a deadlift German suplex. Just the power on display is absolutely inhuman on so many levels.
He really is a monster.
Yeah, exactly. And then finally, we're down to 2 men. We're down to Matanza and Rey Mysterio Jr. Two of the 3 debuts in Aztec Warfare.
And anybody, just casual wrestling fan, would be like, "Oh, Rey's in this match. He's gonna win."
Right.
Of course, they want to make Rey Mysterio their champ because he's got a name. And,
right.
You know, people know his mask. You know, like of course, like. He's going to win.
But with all of the context and all of the backstory that they've given the monster Matanza Cueto, which is his full official name, by the way, the monster Matanza Cueto, the back and forth that they have is incredible. You know, we were watching it out there, and it was just one counter after another. You know, with monsters like this, you usually see them counter one thing, hit a big choke slam or something, and then that's it. But this one was really kind of, it was this weird, like, violent chess match where it was just counter after counter after counter. You know, Rey...
And it wasn't always the same thing.
Right.
Like, he'd change things up throughout the entire match. It wasn't like, oh, I just do clotheslines.
Right.
I'm just going to keep hitting clotheslines.
Right, exactly. So Rey hits the 619, goes to drop the dime, goes for the senton. Matanza picks him up in the powerbomb.
Nothing.
Like nothing.
And just chucks him
and
up. Catches him again.
And catches him in that reverse power slam for the win and to become the new Lucha Underground champion. Oh, thank you.
Krista Joseph says he calls that the Wrath of the Gods.
Oh yeah, the Wrath of the Gods. Good call. Good call back. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Yeah, and as we know, as the myth goes, or as the legend goes, Matanza is supposed to be a god, an Aztec god, kind of trapped in this human's body. Yeah. So yeah, hits Rey Mysterio with the Wrath of the Gods to become the brand new Lucha Underground champion, and it looks like Dario Cueto has taken over again. You know, Katrina, she had a nice run as proprietor, lots of candles everywhere, like we saw in that
sharp things.
That address you were telling us about, Mark. But it's time for El Jefe to take back his temple.
Dude, I can't wait till next episode.
And I mean, but now we've got 3 of these evil tandems. Now we've got Dario Cueto and Matanza, and we've got Mil Muertes and Katrina, and we've got Vampiro and Pentagon. Everyone's evil. Everyone's gonna whip each other's ass. It's gonna be incredible.
But you know what type of match I would love to see Matanza in, and I hope we do at some point?
What kind of match is that?
Ladder match!
That'd be great.
Oh, incredible. I mean, we just spent the better part of an hour talking about this one match. And it was so good. It was so good to see these 3 debuts of these brand new competitors in the temple, and they all made such an incredible impression. Obviously Rey Mysterio's reputation precedes him. He doesn't have anything to prove, but he showed that he hasn't lost a step. Dragon Azteca Jr. showed that he's the guy that you need to be.
See, I think it's really good that he didn't fully come out and just destroy Matanza.
Right.
Because now it shows it's kind of like the movie structure of Mr. Miyagi, Danielson stuff.
Sure.
I trained you, but you still need more training. Maybe now we'll go back to him and Rey working together and both of them trying to figure out what did we do wrong.
Right.
Yeah, it's hero's journey stuff, dude.
Exactly.
Total
Joseph Campbell. Exactly. And that's the thing. If you look at the story, Rey Mysterio and Dragon Azteca Jr. were preparing for Mil Muertes. They weren't preparing for Matanza. Matanza was this last-minute curveball.
That's a horse of a different color.
Exactly. Coming from that other practice temple 375 miles away. Just absolutely amazing stuff. Cannot wait to see what happens under the reign of the Cueto brothers.
Oh, man.
It's now a family business.
The brothers Cueto.
No, one's proprietor, one's champion. Everyone's screwed. It's amazing.
What happened to Black Lotus?
What did happen to Black Lotus? That's a very good question.
She was probably waiting for Katrina in the wings.
There you go. Well, it's good that you mentioned that because we can get into some quick ass predictions.
Your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
I like it. The quick one's growing on me. I'll say that. The quick one's growing on me. So where do you think we're headed now?
I don't know, dude. There's so many storylines. It's just what path are you gonna take?
Yeah, exactly. Everything intersects. That's what's amazing.
I'm hoping next week we get more of Cage Mundo, and then something with Willie. Maybe Willie and the Moth finally figure out their stuff,
right?
And maybe even see what's up with Sexy Star and what's up with the Moth's sister.
Oh yeah, Mariposa. Yeah.
But I really want to start the battle for these coins to see who gets the Gift of the Gods title.
Yes, the Gift of the Gods medallions. Let's get into it.
That's what I'm waiting for.
So good. Yeah, I think we're going to see more of this kind of rivalry between Katrina and Vampiro.
That'll be cool.
Or at least I'm hoping. I think they can do some awesome stuff with the backstage vignettes between the two of them. Maybe Vampiro's getting that pump on. We know you got to get the pump on if you're in the temple.
Or maybe it's crazy in the head Vampiro.
Oh, sure.
And it's all in his head, and she just appears, and it's all crazy in his head, and then he shakes it off and looks in the mirror, and it's Matt Stryker talking to him or something,
right.
Dude.
I like it. I like where your head's at.
Just more weird movie-esque type, wait, is this real or not? Wait, what are we seeing right now?
Exactly. And see, we can buy it here. It's not like when Warrior was showing up in the mirror for when Hulk Hogan was.
It's not when Papa Shango has chocolate syrup running down Warrior's face or anything.
I was terrified of Papa Shango. That's someone I'd love to see in the temple.
Oh man, imagine him and Boogeyman as a team.
No, we need a trios.
There you go. Who else?
Would be the third?
Yuma. Why not?
Yuma, I will say, Yuma wants to do a voodoo gimmick so
Really?
bad. It would be perfect.
Opportunities a knocking.
If he was the voodoo doll, he's the voodoo doll.
There you go.
That would be great.
We're just coming up
That's a
with
good mask for him.
brilliant ideas on AfterBuzz TV, guys.
Really quick, I hope that if Ty, you alluded to it, if people don't follow Lucha El Rey on Twitter, Dario Cueto left a video message essentially saying what his plans are now that he's back as El Jefe in the temple. Watch it because he alludes to the possibility of a trios title tournament again, which I would love to see come to fruition.
Love me a good tournament.
Yeah,
I mean,
especially
really.
if it's a ladder match.
Exactly. Or a tag team match.
A tag team match. Yeah.
You're so quick, Mark.
I was actually ready this week.
You really were. But guys, I mean, obviously, just like every week, we say it every week, so much happening. Can't wait to see, like I said, what's going to happen under the rule of the brothers Cueto. But until then, James Franck, where can they find you? Put yourself over. What's that you got in front of you?
This is my documentary I made about the Young Bucks and their journey to wrestling the Hardy Boys. You can find it at highspots.com, or you can listen to the SmackDown after show we did tonight, and Christian Rosenberg made a nice little rap about it. Check it out. It's pretty funny. Follow me on Twitter at @TheJimboSlice, TheJimboSlice, and Ty Matthews.
And as always, you can find me on Twitter, on Instagram, at Ty Matthews PMA, as well as various other after shows. The Second Chance finale is this Sunday, so tune into that. Monday Night Raw, The Magicians, all that good stuff. We will be... a few of us will be. You'll be here, man.
I'll be here.
Man in the battle stations. A few of us will be in Dallas, Texas next week for WrestleMania weekend. We'll be in the WrestleCon area.
Yeah, check out WrestleCon.
Exactly. Go and check out WrestleCon. You know, we're gonna try to get some cool stuff together. Talk to some people. Who knows? We're gonna get some content going. Oh, man. Remember, if you're on iTunes, download, rate, review, subscribe, all that good stuff. It really helps. If you're on YouTube, leave us a thumbs up, a comment, or just tweet at us. We love hearing from you because we know that you love Lucha Underground just as much as we do. But we'll be right back here, same time, same channel, talking about episode 10 of Season 2 of Lucha Underground. But until then, guys, Viva la Lucha!
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.